Hey everyone, how's it going? Hope you're having a decent day. I myself my day's been less than average to start because it began by watching this film. You clicked on the video. Obviously, you know we're talking about Gladiator II. Some of you may know from previous videos I completely detested the concept of this sequel, and I'm here to report it's worse than we could have ever imagined. I know there's a lot of you on the same page as me who just knew this was a bad idea from the beginning. The way I see it is, it's like Jaws, okay? Most people can agree Jaws is a film not to be remade. The sequels, despite having their place in hilariously bad, enjoyable films, especially the later sequels, those have no business existing. I can say Gladiator II won't even fall into that category of hilariously bad. And so in the same way of Jaws, I just think Gladiator, it made no sense to continue that story. I'm the kind of person who could separate nostalgia. Okay, I'm not trying to gatekeep my nostalgia for the original film. It's really that bad. And unfortunately, I was right. I wish I was wrong, but I was right. Gladiator 2, I think the easiest way to start, and it fits, is to talk about the opening sequence. We're not going to get into too many specifics, nothing that's beyond what we know from the trailers and what we could assume. The opening sequence, when you compare it to the original film, is the perfect juxtaposition of what is revered and awesome and what is going to be completely forgettable and just awfully made. Maximus first gets introduced. He's looking at the bird. He's contemplating. And his attention goes back to the battlefield. And there's nothing like that here with these characters or our hero in the sequel. The way that in the first film they don't show you the relationship with his wife, it's something, when you're introduced to him, he's already been away from home. He's longing for home. And the same way you get drawn into that, you're longing for him to go home. But there's an immediate dread and tension that he won't get back there. And that's the through line, right, of that story. As Russell Crowe, the gravitas that guy has, and the battle sequence itself, my goodness. In this new film, Gladiator II, the battle sequences, all of them, but the first one, right off the bat, you see practical effects in the front, in the back, majority CGI, right? Back in the day, what they used to do, matte paintings, obviously. I happened to grow up in a time where CGI was just coming out with things like, Jurassic Park, and ironically, it still stands to be one of, if not the best examples of CGI. To how far we've come, and the money that's being spent on CGI now, it's a joke, and it's honestly killing Hollywood. There's no charm as opposed to the matte paintings, which in the day had their charm. Lines get dropped from the original. It's embarrassing. I cringed a lot of the times. And to be honest, in my theater, I felt and I heard people laughing at points which they were not supposed to laugh. So I think people will ultimately, there will be a lot of people, and this is unfortunate, but there will be a lot of people who will find some kind of enjoyment out of this film. They'll say it was fun. There was some kind of a spectacle achieved. And I have to be honest, I think it is diminishing the quality of what we're receiving and what's being made. And just going back to that point on spectacle, even, I was going to give it some benefit of the doubt. I've said in the past, Ridley Scott, he works on big productions, big budgets, spectacle, right? Gosh, there was no spectacle. Yeah, costumes are beautiful. A lot of extras in the background doing random things. you could only appreciate that so much. The action sequences, for example, you could tell in the trailers they were just, okay, we're gonna go bigger and broader with the, instead of tigers, it's gonna be rhinos. We're gonna flood the Coliseum, put in sharks. And not only did it just not make sense, it was not grounded to where you could follow the action. We'll talk about the choreography. Well, we'll talk about it now. The choreography was just bad. There was no choreography. There was just random movements happening. It just felt like it kind of happened. And that was the biggest surprise to me, honestly, was that the action was forgettable. Pales in comparison to the original film. And okay, we could talk about cinematography too, because it's the same, where it's uninspired, very random shots. One of the only shots I truly remember being a nice shot was of a koi fish, and I'm not joking. It was of a close-up of a pond with a koi fish. Probably because it had no CGI in it and it was just a nice shot of a fish, but there's literally, I can't even say a few shots which I remember because I don't. It was just that it didn't look like a $300 million movie. It looked like a TV show. And that's not to some TV shows look great, but this just looked like a subpar B TV show. And this was supposed to be a $300 million movie. And I'm being honest with you, I don't see the money on the screen. The characters, we have some returning cast members like Lucilla. People like to say that in the original film, she didn't even have much of a role, and a role of a woman in these kinds of movies is often not done right and not utilized, or they're weak roles. I would disagree as far as the original film. Okay, you weren't just, worried for Maximus, you were worried about her and her son. And with her limited time, I think she was perfectly appropriate and a part of the story there. Here, what they do with her and all the other characters is they butcher these characters and their reasonings. It's beyond dumb. It's in the trailer. Lucius somehow he ends up set away from Rome. It's a decision she rashly makes moments after Maximus dies. It's so stupid. We were talking about being grounded. This film, especially by the third act, gets cartoonishly bad, but in a cringy way, and it really speeds up the plot, and ulterior motives come in happening, and it happens very fast. Denzel Washington has a big part in this, his character, and I will say he does anchor the film a little bit, but I can't even tell you specifically why that is, because his performance, whilst being fun and entertaining because he's charismatic, I don't think it's a great performance because the character is not very great. People are going to say, and are already saying, oh, great performance, interesting character in the film. I don't really think so. But just maybe if you compare it to all the other garbage that's happening, he's kind of a little more elevated. But his performance is kind of silly. It's fun to watch, and it kind of lets you be in the moments of those scenes. But people are saying, he's shoe-in for an Oscar nomination for supporting actor. I'm like, where are you getting that from? That can't happen. I could guarantee it, because it's not that great of a character and the film is abysmal. So it's just not going to happen, guys. But yeah, it's funny. Not only is the plot being repeated constantly, plot points and beats like hardcore, lines are being dropped, and very a degree before being completely laughable. I would say the lines are being dropped. That's how they're delivered. in the context of the story and just how they're being delivered. And yeah, I think that's all I could really say. I'm not sorry that this was so negative. It's kind of fun actually to bash on something, but I am disappointed. Like, make no mistake, I was disappointed the moment this was announced. And you know, it doesn't take away any enjoyment or appreciation I have from the first one. I could completely separate that. And Ridley Scott's part in it, I adore him for that original film. I don't know. I think he lost his sensibilities. But to Ridley Scott, Sir Ridley Scott, I would say, brother, keep trucking on. You're gonna make movies till the day you die, and that's great. But just because you can doesn't mean you should. And that's how I think of it. But yeah, what did you guys think? If you had the misfortune of watching this film already, you could comment below. Comment anything below. I'll have fun with it. And if you like the video and you want to see more, you know what to do. Yeah, have a good day. Thanks.